In today's show, Bitcoin is an insurance policy against the Fed, warns former Facebook exec and Bitcoin billionaire Chamath P. That's right, he went on to share, the reality is that the Fed and the US Treasury have printed so much money that the likelihood is that we're going to continue to see asset price inflation independent of who's in the White House. Chamath told CNBC's Squawk Box this week, adding he holds Bitcoin just in case the central banks and governments of the world step on a landmine. And if you're not familiar with the Bitcoin OG, I call him an OG because he purchased 1 million Bitcoin back in 2013. And at one point, he had almost 5% of all the Bitcoins in circulation. His basis price per purchase was $80 per Bitcoin. So if you do the math, that was about an $80 million investment back in 2013 that today is now worth over $10 billion. And once Bitcoin reaches $1 million, Chamath will become a Bitcoin trillionaire. And in his most recent interview, he says he still expects the Bitcoin price to climb as high as $1 million per BTC over the next 20 years. I'll be breaking down all the highlights from this interview for you right here in today's show. Also in today's episode, the crypto strategist who called Bitcoin's massive collapse back in 2018 says BTC is poised to flash a major buy signal. That's right, veteran commodities trader Peter Brandt, known for accurately predicting Bitcoin's epic fall from 20,000, says that the king of all crypto is on the cusp of flashing a major buy signal. Check this out. He recently tweeted, "It's a major development that a global corporation is now putting Bitcoin onto its balance sheet. The weekly and daily chart is poised to flash a big buy signal." And he's referring to Square, who just recently purchased 50 million in Bitcoin. And if you're not familiar with Peter Brandt, he did predict a $100,000 Bitcoin price earlier this year, pre-pandemic. However, more recently, he said he exited all his Bitcoin positions and moved it back to cash. I'll be giving you all the highlights here in today's show. Also in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing the top public companies that have adopted Bitcoin as a reserve asset. Also, we'll be taking a look at the overall crypto market. As we can see, Bitcoin barely in the green, Ethereum barely in the red, but where's the Bitcoin price likely to go from here? Find out all this, plus so much more in today's show. Here at Crypto News Alerts, I drop a brand new episode every single day, so be sure to smash that subscribe button. That's right, and turn on all notifications to receive daily premium Crypto News Alerts every single day, including weekends just like this. And before I kick off today's show, if interested in tapping into OPM, leveraging other people's money to grow your wealth and crypto portfolio, then smash that link right below the video in the description. All right, welcome back to another episode of Crypto News Alerts. I'm your host, JV. Let's kick it off by diving into today's top story of the day. Bitcoin is an insurance policy against the Fed, warns former Facebook exec and Bitcoin billionaire Chamath P. This handsome gentleman right here, who I consider a Bitcoin OG because he purchased Bitcoin back in 2013 when it was only trading at 80 bucks. And he didn't just purchase any amount. He purchased 1 million Bitcoin for an $80 million investment, which today is now worth over $10 billion. He says the reality is that the Federal Reserve and the US Treasury have printed so much money that the likelihood is we're going to continue to see asset price inflation independent of who's in the White House. That's a great point. It doesn't matter if Biden wins or Trump wins, the Fed will always win. Great point, right? He told CNBC's Squawk Box this week that he holds Bitcoin just in case the central banks and governments of the world step on a landmine. The Fed and the Treasury have embarked on massive stimulus programs this year, injecting trillions of dollars into the financial system in an attempt to offset the economic damage caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Now, we all know that when the money printer go that all that money is going to the top 0.01% of the world. It's not going to the average person. What's a stimulus of $1,200 when they're printing trillions upon trillions upon trillions, which are virtually going to central bankers, Wall Street, and the rich get richer? This unprecedented intervention propelling the stock market to record highs, even as unemployment has spiked and businesses struggle nationwide. I'm laughing because the stocks just keep going up, but it's all artificially inflated. I'm just waiting for this bubble to pop. Now, this has sparked fears among some investors that a severe bout of inflation is on the way. Now, Chamath P., who began his venture capitalist career while still at Facebook in 2011 and has backed the likes of big data analytics firm Palantir and Richard Branson's space exploration company, Virgin Galactic, has long argued Bitcoin serves as a long-term store of value and should be included in every investor's portfolio. I agree. Let me know if you agree in the comments below. He goes on to share, I still think that what I talked about sort of 8 or 9 years ago still holds, which is as a 1% hedge in our portfolio. Shamath, who first bought Bitcoin around 7 years ago when the price was just $80 and has previously said he expects the Bitcoin price to climb as high as $1 million per BTC over the next 20 years. However, Shamath warned against the buying and selling of Bitcoin for short-term profit, advising investors to just hodl it and hope you never need it, because that amount of actual chaos will drive Bitcoin appreciation is not something we actually want to see. Touche. The reality is Bitcoin's fundamentally not correlated with the stock markets because it's underpinned by a set of beliefs that are completely orthogonal to the orthodoxy that runs the world today, and it's completely the inverse of how the financial infrastructure of the world operates, Shamath said. Now, the Bitcoin price, which had been hovering just above 10,000 per Bitcoin since early September, has jumped around 8% this week, climbing back above 11,000 and potentially resuming the bull run that drove it from the lows of under 4,000 as a result of the pandemic back in March to 12,000 in less than 6 months. Now, Bitcoin's rally came after the company Square, led by Twitter chief executive and outspoken Bitcoin advocate Jack Dorsey, revealed he recently bought $50 million worth of Bitcoin, which I've been covering in great detail here in the show. However, the rally also coincided with a sea change in investor belief. U.S. lawmakers will soon agree on a large-scale stimulus bill, which will flood the market with trillions of more freshly printed dollars, which could be an extremely bullish sign for the Bitcoin price. So yeah, much respect to this Bitcoin OG who says Bitcoin can go to $1 million and that everybody should own some. And now, before I break down our next story of the day, crypto strategist who called Bitcoin's massive collapse back in 2018 says BTC is poised to flash a major buy signal. And before I break this down, let's first take a look at the overall crypto market. We can see Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Chainlink, and all the major altcoins back in the red. Bitcoin down 0.12% for the day, trading just above 11,300. It's important we maintain above this critical $11,000 support. If we break back below it, then there's no telling if we can drop back down below that critical 10,000 psychological support and even retest 9,500, as there's a CME futures gap currently at 96 to 97. However, I'm very optimistic that Bitcoin will continue to soar, especially here in the fourth quarter of 2020, especially considering we just recently had a halving just a few months back. Things couldn't be more bullish for the king of all crypto, if you're to ask me. We have Ethereum down 0.5%, trading at $372. XRP down 1%, trading at 25.6 cents. We had BNB down 1%, Chainlink down 1%, and missed Litecoin barely in the red, trading at $49.87. All right, now for our next story of the day. Veteran commodities trader known for accurately predicting Bitcoin's epic fall from 20,000 says that Bitcoin is on the cusp of flashing a major buy signal. We're talking about Peter Brandt, the CEO of trading firm Factor Trading Company, is sharing a chart that shows the crypto king poised to break out of a symmetrical triangle dating back to 2017. Bitcoin now needs to close out of the week above the 11,100 mark for the confirmation. Brandt cites large Bitcoin purchases from payments giant Square and business intelligence company MicroStrategy as significant fundamental factors driving Bitcoin's price. Collectively, the two companies have bought literally $500 million. That's $500 million worth of Bitcoin within the last month. Talk about massive institutional demand. Peter Brandt recently tweeted, "It's a major development that a global corporation is now putting Bitcoin onto its balance sheet. The weekly and daily charts are poised to flash a big buy signal." And he included this graph, which I'll include in the show notes below the video. And this was in response to Square's announcement saying, today, Square announced it has purchased $50 million in Bitcoin. Square believes crypto is an instrument of economic empowerment and provides a way to participate in a global monetary system, which aligns with the company's purpose. So there you have it. Back in January, Peter Brandt said that Bitcoin could surpass $100,000 in its current long-term cycle. However, as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to hit financial markets, the veteran technical trader revealed last month that he exited the crypto market and moved his assets to the US dollar. Very shocking if you're to ask me. You would think he'd have stronger hands than that, but hey, I'm not judging. That's right. The crypto legend Peter Brandt suggested that the Bitcoin price would rally much higher than $100,000, and this article was published back on February 1st of 2020, but it seems as of lately, he has more faith in the US dollar than the king of all crypto. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Peter Brandt in the comments below. I'll also note that the stock to flow model also predicts a $100,000 Bitcoin price by the end of next year. All right, and before I break down our next story of the day and I share with you the top public companies that have adopted Bitcoin as a reserve asset, let's first take a look at the overall crypto market cap, sitting at $358 billion with $77 billion in volume in the past 24 hours, and current BTC dominance is 58.5%. And now taking a look at the top gainers within the top 100, we have Ren up a whopping 29%, trading at 36.5 cents. IOTA up 22.5%, trading at 33 cents. Cosmos up 8.8%, trading at $5.72. Storj up about 8%, trading at 62 cents. And Arweave up about 7%, trading at around $5. Below that, we have Zcash, Quant, Monero, and Engine Coin. And now checking out the biggest losers within the top 100 in the past 24 hours, we have UMA down 7.8%, trading at $9.24. PumaPay down 5%, trading at 0.0003. Yearn Finance down about 5%, trading just above 16,300. We have Orchid down 4%, trading at 26 cents. And Celo down 4%, trading at $2.11. Below that, we have Solana down 4%, Aave down 4%, and SushiSwap down 3.5%. Now, out of this list of the biggest gainers and losers, which altcoins in particular are you most bullish on right now? Drop me a comment right down below. And now checking out the BitMEX margins, we can see the bears are back in control, leading with about 15 million in superiority in the last 24 hours, with shorts leading 51.11% versus 48.89% longs. Are you currently bullish or bearish on the king of all crypto? Holla at your boy. And now checking out the crypto greed and fear index, shows we're currently rated a 55, back in greed. Yesterday was a 53 neutral, last week a 42 in fear, and last month a 41 in fear. And if you're not familiar with the crypto greed and fear index, extreme fear can be a sign investors are too worried. That can be a great buying opportunity, aka BTFD. And when investors are getting too greedy, that means the market is due for correction. All right, and before I break down our final story of the day and I share with you these top public traded companies which have adopted Bitcoin as their reserve asset, first I want to remind you to smash that show more button right below the video in the description. That's right, for a detailed analysis of what's going on in the market. This goes for all 550 plus videos right here on my YouTube channel. Also some very helpful resources for you to plug into, including the blog to my podcast, which could be found at cryptonewsyes.com. Also be sure to smash that subscribe button right below this video. And if you're listening or tuning in on a different platform outside YouTube, the direct YouTube link is cryptonewsalerts.net. You can also find us on all the major podcasting platforms, from Spotify, the home of the Joe Rogan Experience, to Apple's iTunes, to Google Play and Stitcher Radio. You can also follow us on Twitter to receive daily crypto news alerts. My Twitter handle is Crypto News Yes, and I am very active on Twitter, just FYI. And for those of you active on Facebook, as I am, I do have a private crypto Facebook group entitled Crypto Alchemy. To join it, simply click this link, request to join. I'll be sure to plug you in. And for those of you active on Telegram, as I am, I do have a private crypto Telegram chat. To join it, click this link. You'll automatically be added, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you personally on the inside. All right, now let's break down our final story of the day. When MicroStrategy bought $425 million worth of Bitcoin in the last 2 months, the decision became an important stamp of institutional approval of the top crypto's credentials as a mature, safe haven asset. The American technology firm had just made Bitcoin its primary reserve asset to hedge against fiat inflation. Now, it appears major global companies are following MicroStrategy's Bitcoin strategy. Let's go. The website, bitcointreasuries.org, is curating Bitcoin treasuries held in reserve by publicly traded companies from all across the world. At the time, 13 companies with a combined total of 598,237 Bitcoin, or 2.85% of the circulating supply, are listed on the page. And here's some of the reviews of these entities. Let's start with Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, who currently holds approximately 2.14% of that supply. Grayscale Investments is perhaps the unsurprising pacesetter in this regard, though its Bitcoin Trust Fund, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which owns and tracks the price of Bitcoin, the New York-based firm now holds 449,596 Bitcoin, valued at $5.1 billion currently, representing 2.14% of the digital assets total circulating supply. Now listed on the OTCQX market, the trust has snapped up 70% of all newly minted Bitcoin in 2020. I repeat, they snatched up literally 70% of all newly minted Bitcoin in 2020, almost doubling its portfolio. In the process, we're talking about massive institutional demand. Now, it's noteworthy that the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust holds this Bitcoin on behalf of accredited corporate investors who typically value privacy and Bitcoin store value credentials while calculatively reluctant to gain direct exposure to the asset. Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust became the first publicly quoted security solely invested in and deriving value from the price of Bitcoin. When it launched in 2013, the company operates 10 crypto investment products focused on institutional investors. Funds cover Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Zcash, XRP, and more. And checking out this chart, which shows us publicly traded companies that have adopted Bitcoin as a reserve asset. MicroStrategy Incorporated, controlling 0.18% of the Bitcoin supply. Grayscale may be a pioneer, but it's MicroStrategy that grabbed all the headlines in recent weeks. The NASDAQ-listed company, which develops mobile software as a provided cloud-based service, bought $425 million worth of Bitcoin in August and September, making Bitcoin MicroStrategy's largest reserve asset. That's right, the multi-billion-dollar U.S. firm now holds a total of 38,250 Bitcoin, and a move that signals increasing corporate adoption. At current exchange rates, the portfolio is worth more than $433 million, a gain of $8 million, coming as it does against a backdrop of increased stimulus spending that has sent global fiat currencies into a tailspin. MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor is particularly upbeat. He went on the record to share, "This investment reflects our belief that Bitcoin, as the world's most widely adopted crypto, is a dependable store of value and an attractive investment asset with more long-term appreciation potential than holding cash," he says. And I still can't believe that Peter Brandt converted all of his Bitcoin over to fiat currency. What is he thinking? The complete opposite of what I'm thinking, apparently. And next up, we have Square, Jack Dorsey's company, who just recently made a $50 million acquisition, purchasing 4,709 Bitcoin. And according to their chief financial officer of Square, Bitcoin has the potential to be a more ubiquitous currency in the future. That's right. On this account, the company intends that Bitcoin grows in adoption. We intend to learn and participate in a disciplined way. For a company that is building products based on a more inclusive future, this investment is a step on that journey. Now, Bitcoin reacted very positively to Square's news, soaring 8% in the last 72 hours to more than 11,300, up from 10,500. Now, with the market cap of over 83 billion, Square provides software and hardware payment solutions. In 2019, the company reported revenue of $4.7 billion. It has offices in the US, Canada, Australia, Japan, as well as the United Kingdom. Now, what makes this also very interesting, I'm not going to read all of these, but next we have CoinShares, followed by these other listings here. What makes it all very interesting is, what if these CEOs stepped up to the plate and said, hey, instead of just allocating 1% of our balance sheet or our portfolio, let's step it up to 10%. Now, what if some of these CEOs pulled a Max Keiser, who just tweeted, "I've had 80% of my balance sheet invested into Bitcoin since 2011. You guys are posting rookie numbers," and he tagged Jack Dorsey as well as the MicroStrategy CEO, Michael Saylor. Now check this out. 5 days after this was published, Square buys 50 million of Bitcoin. Max Keiser actually called out Jack Dorsey. Checking out this tweet right here in response to Jack. "Pretty words, but no Michael Saylor type commitment to Bitcoin on the balance sheet. American CEOs are not getting the big picture about what's happening with Bitcoin in countries like Nigeria with 30% hyper Bitcoinization right now. Let's stop the posturing and take action." And lo and behold, 5 days later, Square announces purchasing literally 50 million in Bitcoin. So here's what could happen if other major CEOs followed suit and also invested 80% of their balance sheets into Bitcoin. The Bitcoin price would soar to the moon, and I'm sticking with it. And I responded to Max right here, tagging Max. "Max is what we call a Bitcoin OG." And Eric responded to my tweet, "I consider anyone who was involved before Bitcoin had a price denominated in USD, an example before the pizza event, to be an OG. We were the ones who were involved before there was really even a cash incentive to drive us." And Max Keiser responded, "Before the pizza buy, Bitcoin was pure cypherpunk. Once an exchange price was established, marks the beginning of the OG era that runs until the Mt. Gox crash of 2014. Most of the OGs went mad or got lost with hard forks. Very few are still standing. There is only one OG couple, touche. Shout out to Max and Stacy Herbert of the Keiser Report, and shout out to their Orange Pill podcast. So yeah, back to the topic at hand. If these other CEOs started investing 80% and pulling a Max Keiser, I'd expect the Bitcoin price to hit 6 figures in no time. As you can tell, I'm extremely bullish on the Bitcoin price, and I also feel long term that Bitcoin is inevitable to hit 7 figures as Shamath P predicted. And now for a quick recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. Bitcoin is an insurance policy against the Fed, warns former Facebook exec and Bitcoin billionaire Shamath P, who also goes on to share that Bitcoin could go to 1 million and that everybody should own some. That's right. Also in today's episode, I shared crypto strategist Peter Brandt, who called Bitcoin's massive collapse back in 2018, says Bitcoin is poised to flash a major buy signal. Also in today's episode, I shared with you the top publicly traded companies that have adopted Bitcoin as a reserve asset. So where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go from here? Drop me a comment right down below. Well, that's going to conclude today's show. As always, I appreciate you tuning in and journeying along with me inside this incredible crypto matrix. If you gain value out of today's show, be sure to smash that subscribe button. That's right, and turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, including weekends, just like this. And real quick before I go, if interested in tapping into OPM, leveraging other people's money to grow your wealth and crypto portfolio, then smash that link right below the video in the description and register for this free system entitled OPM Wealth. You'll be glad you did, and I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's episode. Peace.